Hey guys, this is James from Isotropic, and in this video we are going to be recreating a Linktree social page in Oxygen Builder, and this is a little activity that I think should give you guys a real-world example of how to use advanced custom fields with a page and an Oxygen Builder template or an Oxygen Builder page and create something that could actually be useful for your business or for your clients. So Linktree is a service that you can use to create a page that is specifically designed for the link in an Instagram bio or a TikTok bio or one of those links that pop up a specific page from social media. And this gives you essentially just a landing page with a bunch of individual buttons that you can then click to get to certain places. So here's an example of a Red Bull Linktree link in bio landing page. And this is something that it's not just Linktree, there are a bunch of different versions of Linktree, but this is something that I think is really good for a lot of businesses, and you'll see that big companies like Red Bull, and there are a bunch of examples down here, use this type of page to go ahead and present their content on social media. So you'll see all of these guys have their own pages, and I'll quickly open some of them to just show you how they work. And you'll notice, very simple page, just a humongous list of a bunch of links, social links on the bottom. With Patreon, it's very similar to that. You'll see that there are a bunch of links, primarily buttons, social links on the bottom, a image up top, which is probably the same as their social media image, and in this situation there's a drop down with videos. And these are made to be completely responsive, so you'll see that this link is the one that they'll use in the biography, and it expands to fit the desktop, and it also drops down if we have a phone screen size, and it drops down to something like this. So it's made to work on all different sizes of screen and essentially act as that directory from a link in bio on TikTok or Instagram. So I think that's enough talking. It gives you a good idea of what we're looking to do. We're going to build this with Oxygen Builder, Advanced Custom Fields Pro, and that's it. One thing that I'm going to do near the end of this video is also create a little way to collect payments through Stripe, and I'll talk more about that as we get to it, but a nice little pop-up that I'll do with Oxygen Builder and WS Form. But I think this is going to give you a good understanding of how you can use repeaters in ACF and Oxygen Builder in the real world to make a client editable page on the back end work on Oxygen Builder and then display on the front end. So enough talking, let's get into it. Again, this is going to be a live build, so I'll try to be talking for the majority of what I'm doing, but there might be points of downtime. I'm not expecting to edit this video, so I think you'll be stuck with the silence, but hopefully this is entertaining enough. So in this situation, I'm going to build a page. If I wanted to create multiple templates or multiple link in bio pages, I may go ahead and use a template plus ACF, but in this situation, I'm going to assume that this is just a local company and they want a social page. So by creating a page on WordPress, it's just going to be this link in the biography, so the domain of the company /social, and that's what I'm going to place in the client's Instagram biography or LinkedIn biography. Visitors will click that link and they'll get to this page. So the first step is to actually make the page, and we're going to just name it social, and then from there we're going to double check that the permalink is this, and this is what will show up on the front end of the page. I'm going to quickly publish this page. No content here because we're going to build everything in Oxygen and then create an advanced custom field group to make everything editable on the back end, and that will show underneath this Oxygen Builder meta box. If this is a real website, you'll notice that I'm just using a sandbox installation. If this is a real website, there are going to be a million different templates that we're going to be using on a website. So maybe a header footer template, a blog post template, an inner content template, something like that. For this situation on a Oxygen Builder website, I would not use any template. I would just build the whole thing within this page because there's no element of this page that's going to really be reused somewhere else in the page. This is kind of a standalone landing page with a single purpose, not really designed to be accessed on Google, not really designed to be accessed from clicking through a link on the website. This is what happens when you click on a biography link, and it's designed to get you to other sections of the website or other websites or other platforms. So no template, no header, footer templates, nothing like that. We're just going to publish the page, reload it, and begin building in Oxygen. I need to think about if I want to do it in Oxygen or do the information architecture first through advanced custom fields, and I think I'm going to go that route. So what I'm going to do is create the interface for information to be populated within, then populate that information, and then build the front end template. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I think it will be easier for me and for you to understand how content fits in if that content already exists. So we're going to, I think, copy the Red Bull page. I kind of like the design here. I'm going to do a little modification based off of this page, but nothing crazy. So we'll have a client editable profile image, a little tagline, and then as many buttons as we want to add, and then social links on the bottom. We'll also make it so the client can edit the background image, and that's about it. So with that, we're going to break it down. We're going to have an image element, a text element, and then a link element. And I don't know if this will be a link element or a group element with text and then URL. That's something to think about. We're going to have another image element field, and by element I mean field for advanced custom fields. We'll have an image field for the background, and then we'll have a bunch of URLs for the predefined links to the social media platforms. All right, with that information, let us go and create a field group. So we're going to go to custom fields. This is advanced custom fields 5.9 point something, and we'll just make a new field group. Because that page already exists, I can quickly already just assign this to the specific social page. So that's out of the way. And then we'll just name it social page info. And then on a client website, I'd probably hide this in the Oxygen settings, but we'll publish this field group, and then we'll get to making what I just described. First is an image field, so that will be the profile image, and this will be just a simple image. And then if I wanted to, I will go ahead and make the maximum width maybe 300 pixels. And the reason I'm going to do that is because we don't want a massive image size or file size showing up here. Because it's a profile image, it can be really small, and we'll want to keep it as small as possible so that page loads as quickly as possible. Then we're going to do a little tagline, and this can remain your standard text input or a what you see is what you get editor input. If we wanted to give them the ability to maybe bold text, I think I'm going to do that. And I'll show you an example of why I do that in a second. If this is for a real client website, I'm going to just do visual only, and then we'll make the toolbar basic, and no media can be uploaded, and that will be that. All right, underneath is where the complexity kind of comes into play. We're going to have all of these buttons, and we want the client to be able to add and remove buttons and reorder them as they want. So the way I'm going to do this is first by adding a repeater, and this will be named button/links. Go ahead and just search for repeater. If you don't have a repeater, there we go. If you don't have a repeater, it means you don't have the pro version of ACF. You need the pro version for this tutorial, for the repeater. And honestly, the way the repeater works with Oxygen, it's essentially a must-have plugin if you're going to build more complex websites. So go take a look at ACF Pro. That's a plugin that I definitely recommend for these type of projects. Another plugin, really quickly, before I continue, I'll show you the plugins I have here. You'll see I have all the Oxygen plugins, ACF Pro 5.9, and then WS Form. This is here Number one, because it works with Oxygen natively. Number two, because it's my favorite form plugin. And number three, because we're going to create a payment pop-up at the end of this video, and I'm going to use this form tool to do that. The only other plugin I have here is Hydrogen Pack. This is a must-have plugin in my opinion for Oxygen. And right now it's version 1.3.5. I have a ton of reviews and stuff. I'll leave in the description below and link all that. This is something that you'll need, and you'll see when I get into the Oxygen builder and actually build the front end template. All right, back to our field group. We are currently creating the interface for clients to add, edit, and reorder and remove buttons and links. And I think the way I'm going to do this is having a repeater and then have two fields. The first is going to be the link title. That's going to be text, and that's going to be the content that shows up here. So it's going to be Kristen, whatever her last name is, takes on Valorant, and that's going to just be the link title. Then we're also going to have a link URL, and that's going to be where the button goes, and that will be a URL field. And then if I wanted to get crazy, and I'm not going to do it in this video, but there was an example, I think it was the Patreon example, where we had drop downs for YouTube videos. And the way I would build this, if I wanted to, and if I wanted to make this more complex for the client and give them more features, I would first have the first field in the repeater would be a radio button field. And it would say select your link type, and then within that radio button I would have several choices. The first would be button, the second would be video, and maybe payment. And on the front end it would just be three buttons where you would select between button, video, or payment. If you selected button, it would just show link URL and link title. If you selected video, then it would show a video field. And I would go video link here, and I would then either do a URL or an embed, and they would just paste the link for that YouTube video in. And then I would have within the repeater in Oxygen either a video component from Oxy Extras or something else, plus I forgot what it's called, a toggle element, and throw that video inside, and that's how I would do the video. So that's how I'd make things more complex. I'd do radio buttons where you select the type of button for that specific repeater entry, and then I would also use conditional logic to show a specific field if my link type was equal to video. I'm not going to do that. I think that adds too much complexity for this video, but that's how I would do it if I were to do it. What we're sticking with is just adding as many buttons and reordering as many times as you want. So we're only going to have our link title and link URL field. The final thing is, actually we need to do the social links. The way I'm going to do that is have predefined social links that you have to add the various information for. So I'm going to do social links and make this a group. And then within this group, we will do 3 links: Facebook URL. We'll do 2 links actually in the thought of time. Twitter. Did I name it URL or just Facebook? We'll do Facebook, Twitter, and then URL as well. And then just keep it like this. And then the final thing is an image field again for the background image. And then that would be image. If we wanted to get more complex and give them more control over their page on the back end, I could add color fields and have them select the colors for maybe this text, maybe these different button colors, hover colors, something like that. This is not that type of project. It's not going to be that complex. If you want to learn about how to do that, having clients set specific colors and other CSS settings in their ACF backend and then reflecting those changes into Oxygen and then rendering them on the front end, let me know in the comments below, and maybe I'll make a video on that. So this is the field group on the ACF backend. We're gonna just add it to the social page and nowhere else. And then with that, I'm going to publish it or update it, and then go to the social page and add in the various information. So this is what we've done on the ACF side of things. We're gonna go back to the page and reload it. And then we're gonna see our ACF fields now available here. So let's just essentially copy Red Bull. I'm gonna save their profile image. And then I'm going to snag, if it lets me copy it. Nope, it's not going to. I'm going to add the profile image first. So there's our Red Bull image. And then I'm going to add a tagline, Red Bull. And then I'm also going to bold this, and that's what this type of editor is good for. If you want your client to be able to format various things and then show it on the front end, that's what you would use this for. And now this is the main section. First, I'm going to just add a Facebook link. And then I will also add the Twitter link, just quickly. And then I'm going to show you kind of what we built with the repeater. And this is the beauty about using Oxygen with ACF and a repeater. So this repeater allows us to add as many buttons as we want, as many links as we want. So if we were Red Bull and we wanted to add this link and this link and this link, we'd add 3 different links on the back end. We can reorder it. We can remove the links when we want. It makes the website very flexible for the client on the back end to have a predefined field to enter information. It's already there. It's already in front of them. It's very easy to use and understand. So I'm going to add, in this situation, 3 links. So I'm going to say, first, actually I'm going to add 4 links because we're going to have that payment thing. So for the payment, I'm going to say donate to us, and then do that link. And then we're going to do, I don't think I can copy and paste from this, which is a bit annoying. There we go. So I'm going to just copy these 3 buttons as well as their links and kind of make this as realistic as possible. And then we'll snag the associated links. And you'll notice that Red Bull actually is using a link shortener. So this gives them the ability to track their links in some situations. It also just makes things shorter and easier to remember. With this Oxygen setup, we could actually add identifiers to these buttons and then create Google Analytics events to track when these buttons are clicked, from what devices they're clicked, all that fun stuff. So we can use Google Analytics to give us a really up close and personal look into what our users are doing on the social page. That's not going to be part of this video, but it's something that you can do because you have so much control with Oxygen. So these are our 4 buttons. I'm going to first update the page quickly. Nope, we need to make a valid URL. So I guess we're going to do this instead, see if that works. And then I'm also going to quickly make these valid. And I also forgot to add the background image, so I'm going to do that very quickly. I'm going to see where that background image comes from. See if I can find the link for that. Instead, I'm going to just do it this way. Find our background image here, which is this one. I'm going to copy our URL, open that, save the image, and upload it to our background image field. And I think I'd probably also limit the file size for the background image, or definitely add a CDN or something like that to make things load quickly. But again, this is just a quick demo of what we're trying to do here, so nothing crazy. This link isn't going to go anywhere, which is what we want for the donate to us button, but I may need to manually build that button without getting too complex here. But here's all the information on the back end: profile, tagline, buttons, social links, background image. That's that. So now we've added all the information. We've kind of built the way to add and remove and do all that. You can see we can add, remove. We can also reorder our links on the back end. So for a client, this is very easy to kind of edit when they have new events, new content for the bio links. That's what they'll do. They'll just go to this page and update, and then click update. Easy on their end. So now it's time for us to build this in Oxygen so it actually works and displays the relevant information. So we're going to go to Edit with Oxygen and start building our social page. And we're going to copy the Red Bull page, which I closed, so I need to get back to that. So quickly I'm going to build. You may notice that some elements just show up, and that is because instead of clicking and dragging and doing all that, I'm going to use the hydrogen pack for my right click menu, as well as a couple other things such as keyboard shortcuts. So I'm going to add a section, add a div within the section, vertically align that or horizontally align that, and then from there I'm going to make the section 100% high or 100 viewport height. That's going to take up the whole page, and we're actually going to do this, and then we're going to first thing we're going to do is set our background image. That's going to use data, advanced custom field, background image, insert. So there's our background image already set, and I'm going to quickly reload the page because I think it should show up. I don't know why it's not automatically loading in. Let's quickly check the back end to see why our background image isn't showing up. We may need to change the field group to output a URL instead. So let's quickly do that. Instead of an array, we'll do image URL, and I'll do the same for here. It can't really hurt to set that. And then let's see if that fixes things. All right, it looks like it doesn't want to show up, so we will circle back to that. And as we continue, let's just build out the rest of the page and see where we land. So first I'm going to, that was a lot of thunder. First I'm going to add an image, then we're going to add our tagline, and then we're going to add a repeater. And then under the repeater, we're going to, I don't know if the social links will work here. I don't know if I can add links from the data. So first we'll see if the social icons work. No, I can't add them via links, so I'm going to have to essentially manually build that. So I'll add a div, and then within the div I will add another div, and then an icon, not an image, an icon. And then I will just duplicate that for a placeholder, not a div, duplication, and then make this horizontal. All right, and then I'm going to center align everything horizontally, and then we're going to throw in our profile image. We'll go original. And then with that profile image, I'm going to make it 100 on 100, which I think is what they're doing on the Linktree site. Make our radius a circle, and then we're going to space everything out just quickly by 20 pixels. I think if this were a production website, I would probably be using Oxy Ninja, which is a framework, and that framework gives me kind of responsive spacing options, but in this situation I'm just gonna go ahead and do it like this. I'm going to actually create a class here, social link, and this is going to become a link box or link wrapper, and so is this, and then quick and dirty spacing. With those classes, we will space them out with a margin right of 10, and I don't think this had the social link class applied, so we'll do that. And then to kind of recenter things, again, quick and dirty, we will, oh, that's where that came from. We will subtract the 10, and it will be centered just like that. I'm then going to kind of make this a circle. So the way I'm going to do that is have a padding of 10 each, and then have a border of 50%, and this is applying to both the classes, and we'll make this a class of social icon and get rid of that one. This will be social icon, and we need to add the social link class to the div. There we go. And then we'll make our social icons smaller, 20 pixels maybe, 30. And I'm gonna see if I can, yeah, Font Awesome has our logo, so we'll do that. And we'll do Twitter. And then I'll do a little wrapper by just going to border, color, width, 2, solid. There we go. All right, so those are our social icons. I need to make them white. And it would be great if our background image was working. In the meantime, I'm just going to throw it in by using the data library or the media library, but this background image will get resolved so the customer can add it from the back end rather than us having to go into Oxygen and set it. We'll do background position center, and this will just center it regardless of the screen size. And right now she's kind of pushed in an odd placement, but it works perfectly on a mobile, which is where pretty much all these links are going to come from. So we'll keep it like that, and I actually want these to be a bit smaller, so I'm going to go back to our social link, and from social link I'm going to make our padding 5 around, and I'll just keep it like that for now. And then with those social links, I can now go ahead and actually set the links. For Facebook, advanced custom fields, social links is a group, so I'll click into that and then just choose Facebook, and then I'll do the same for Twitter. So now these are live and working. I'm going to quickly save my work, and then I'm going to go and work on my text. So this is kind of the standard size in Oxygen. This is the standard font. I'm going to swap it to maybe Roboto, and then I'm going to insert data, ACF, go back, and ACF tagline, and that's just going to throw our content in. And you'll see that with this content, it number one gives you paragraph based spacing, so I want to go back and make a class and do no padding, or I think it's or no space, and then I need to go to style sheets and add a class of no. There we go. And you'll see that this no space and then identifying the paragraph within removes the margin between it. And this is just added. I don't know if it's by Oxygen or by WordPress, but if I get rid of this, you'll see that there's margin on each side because it's treating this input as a paragraph and spacing it out. That space doesn't work. So I'm just going to remove it by doing that. Just a little tip that I unfortunately had to learn the hard way. I'm going to set my minimum width to be 300 and my maximum, or my standard width to be 100, and maybe my max width to be 800, and not the section. I want that to be our div instead. And this is just going to kind of space things out nicely on all device sizes, regardless of what it is. All right, so now we're going to add our buttons. And the way the repeater works is first we need to set our query. So we'll go to repeater query, use ACF repeater field. I'll apply it. We'll notice that there are 4 buttons I set on the back end. So there are 4 boxes of divs here. I'm going to set our margin of each to be 20, and then the repeater itself I think has 20, so I can either remove this. I'll just remove this, but if I wanted the bottom to have no padding, I just do -20, but we'll keep it like that. And now we'll just add in the buttons. So I'm going to throw in a button, and you'll notice again using hydrogen pack and those very handy keyboard shortcuts. And now we're just going to add in our data, and then I'll style the button afterwards. So first the link under repeater field, link URL, and then the actual text under repeater field, link title. So now here are all of our links. And the way Linktree does it is they have these buttons kind of standard width, and then it looks like they're 100% wide for the whole thing, so I'll do the same thing. I will go to the button and just make it 100% wide, and then from there I think these buttons may be, I don't know, they look a little different, so let's see what we can do here. I'm gonna go to outline. So first it will become an outline, then I'll go FFF. Actually I'm gonna go solid because I wanted the background to be a little bit different than what Red Bull did. I don't think the Red Bull buttons are easy to read with this background, especially with these hover effects. So we're gonna do this. First I'm going to go to borders, make our radius something more, 20. And then I'm going to make the background this, but add a little of that. And I think that just makes it a little bit easier to identify that, yes, that's a button and that's the text. I might be wrong. It might be more difficult to read, but that's the beauty of Oxygen. You can check things out, see if they work. If they don't work, fix things. I'm also going to make the target blank, so it's going to open up in a new tab if you click on it. And then I'm going to create a hover state for the button. And with that, I'm going to make our background completely white. The text color completely black. And make our transition half a second. So now when I hover on it, we know that I'm hovering on it. And when this is on a mobile device, it's kind of more of a, when you click on it, this shows up. And in the split second that it takes to load the new page, you know that you've clicked on the right button. And I'm also going to quickly change our fonts a little bit. I'm going to make this one 14 and maybe bold it. And then also make that Roboto. And that is kind of our Linktree recreation. The only other thing I want to do is work on spacing a little more. Also, from that spacing, I always want this to be the viewport height, so our image kind of always fits there. And with that being said, I want the overflow to scroll, so this div, if it overflows, which I don't think it will on any device with these buttons, but if we have a million buttons, then maybe it will. I will go overflow, not completely caps. Overflow Y is auto. And there we go. So with that, let's take a look at this on the front end and see if it works. And I think one quick thing I want to change here is adding an overlay to make things even more visible. So maybe 20, and I'll just save that, and we will check it out on the front end. So here are our social links. Somebody clicks on it, we'll notice that I did not set a border for that hover effect, so things kind of jitter around. I'm going to fix that real quick. Borders width will be 2, and it will just inherit what the normal border is, which is white. And let's see if that fixed that. And there we go. Here's our kind of Linktree recreation of the Red Bull variant. You'll notice it's not completely similar. In my opinion, it's better, and it kind of collapses as you would expect, and it collapses down to 300. If we wanted to make it more responsive, we could just remove that minimum width, but I don't know, I'm gonna keep it at 300 like that. But there you go. This is kind of what it would look like on an iPhone, which is what a lot of people are using here. And we'll see that our Twitter link, our Facebook link, all of these links are populated, ready to go, open in that new tab, and really just work as you would want it to work. So let's say you're the client really quickly, and well, first let's see if I can fix this background that's been annoying me from the beginning of this video. Very interesting. I think you guys get the point that you would set the background as a background in ACF and it would reflect on the front end, but for some reason it doesn't want to work, and I don't want to deal with it anymore in this video, so I'll leave it as is, but that's how you would do it. You'd use the data to do exactly that. Say we want to change this, or if we're the client, we have a new campaign for maybe a hashtag, we can go ahead and do hashtag and quickly update the page. And because Oxygen is open, this update button is annoyingly blanked out, so I need to unblank it out. And this is a quick trick that annoyingly took me a very long time to figure out. Now we can update our content, and I'll update the content, and you'll see that the new hashtag that doesn't spell Red Bull correctly is now there. Something else to note is with this kind of repeater setup, and this applies to any of the repeaters that you're building, we can swap the links. So Kristen right now is number 1, but I've updated her, so when I update the page, now Red Bull Campus is going to be number 1. You'll notice that happen like that. And if we want to remove a specific row, we can do that too. And that's removed. So pretty, I think, simple example of what you can do with a repeater, but this is something that's useful and you can build for your clients. So hopefully this was a helpful video. That's really the end of the content that I think many people would get a lot of value out of. Now I'm just going to, for myself, quickly create a donation button. So the way I'm going to do that is I like this styling, I like this button, so I'm just going to copy it and I'll paste it right below the repeater. And you'll notice that this button is drawing on the data because it was just copied. It's drawing on the data inputs that no longer apply to it because it's out of that repeater. So I'm going to change this to donate. And I'm going to add a class here, which helps me identify it. And then I'm going to just remove the URL. And then this donate button, when somebody clicks on it, what I want to happen is a little donation modal to pop up. And I'm going to copy the Linktree example here, just a little pop-up that isn't crazy, but it kind of makes it easy for somebody to donate to you or support you or something like that. And the way I'm going to do this is using an Oxygen Builder modal. So let's do that now. And then I'm going to use WS Form and Stripe to process that payment. So here's our modal now. What I want to do is kind of make it fit those buttons. So the way that is working is the width is 100%, the minimum width is 300 pixels, the maximum is 800, and our borders are 20. And this is currently in the middle of the screen, and I think I want to keep it there. And with that, we'll just keep it like that for now. And then from there, I'm going to do a little, as this is designed, I'm going to do a little support my music tagline, and quickly I'm going to build it out, so I'm not going to create those ACF fields for client editability in the back end, but if this were for a client, I would go ahead and create fields where somebody can change support my music on the back end, all of that. So I'm going to just do a little div here, or not duplicate, a little div here, and then another div beneath it. The modal itself is going to go ahead and overflow hidden, and then we'll do a little padding like this, and title, or not a tab, text, there we go. Support my music, little border below. And this one will also have a 10 pixel padding. And I kind of want to copy that close button. I kind of like that little close button there. But we also need to make that roboto, and instead of doing it every time, I'm just going to quickly go to global settings, body text or fonts, there we go, and just make it roboto from there. There we go, that's a little bit better. And we can add a tagline. I guess I will. And I'll just keep it like that, just as a placeholder. And I'll do this. And now we're going to go on to the back end and create that donation form. And I spoke too soon. Instead of going on to the back end, we are going to create a close button. So add a div. And this div is going to be special. Background color. So what I'm doing now is creating a close button, and that's going to kind of mirror the close button that we see here with a little background, transparent background kind of separated from the little pop-up. And I think that looks neat, interesting, so we'll copy that. I'll keep it like that, and then we will go to layout back there. Top will be 40, and we will make this one relative, and instead of top being 40, I messed that up. The bottom will be negative 40. And if we're going to do that, my overlay or off screen needs to be visible, and the bottom will be more than 40. It will be 80. And then my layout needs to be that, and this needs to go to become 100% wide, and remove those borders because our overlay is now, or overflow is now visible. So I'm going to only go none, bottom, solid. Okay, back in business. This is our close button. We need to make this an X. I like the linear icons a little bit better. And we'll make this one white. We will make the cursor, which isn't really important because it's a mobile setup, but we'll make the cursor a pointer. So it kind of acts like a button even though it isn't a button. And then the final thing we need to do is add a close modal class. I forgot what that is. Closing. No. Yeah. And a class with oxyclose modal. Okay, so this is our little close modal button. That's actually pretty good for mobile usage, so I'll keep that design there, and then I'm going to make that a bit wider and save it. And then I'm going to go ahead and hide everything and make this pop up, which has the class of donate, or this button which has the class of donate, toggle or trigger the modal. And I apologize about that noise. Let's quickly turn that off. There we go. So we will toggle the modal with this button, and I can demo that now. That kind of pops up the modal, and I'm going to, instead of having it like that, I need to make our width 90%, 95%, and I'm going to remove the minimum width, and that will just give us a little bit of a buffer between the page and the pop-up. And here's our close button, closes the modal as needed. And the final thing to do is create our kind of donation utility. And the way they have it here is preset buttons and then a pay $15 button. So let's see how to do that with WS. So I'm using WS form with the agency subscription. I'll link that review in the description below. And we are using Stripe elements for the payment processing. This is pretty easy stuff. I'm going to use a template to start, but I might just need to scrap it and do my own thing. I'm going to scrap this and do my own thing. What I'm going to do here is create a button or a price radio name that donation, and then we will name our prices $5. And I'll make this one checked. 15, 25. That's that. Then we will go ahead and add a donation button. I think it's just going to be the submit button. Do that and publish it. And that's as easy as it gets. The only other thing I need to do is add Stripe elements, the API keys to that, but I don't have it, so I don't think this is going to be functional, but hopefully it shows up as it should, so it gives you the idea here. Let me see. I don't know if it's the submit button. We'll create an action. Yeah, I think I need to set my Stripe API keys to make this actually work, but when you create the API keys, you can create this form, and I'm just going to quickly publish it on here and we'll wrap the video up, but I think this should give you a good understanding of how I would go ahead and create that donate modal if it were something that I needed to do for a client. So I'm going to show this again, and then right under here I'll add in a form, and then I can just choose the form that I just created and pop that in right there. And this is kind of not the prettiest form out there. I'm going to make these guys, remove that label, make them horizontal. Should hide that label. And let's see how it looks on a phone. It looks like I completely forgot to save everything, so we're going to do that instead. And then once we're done actually saving things, publish the form, and then see how it looks. There we go. All right, not the prettiest form in the world, but it will do for this example. If they click donate to us on our link in bio, they can just select this, and if we set up Stripe properly, they would check this off, enter their credit card information, and then click donate. And there you go. It would say thank you for your payment, and you can close the pop-up, do anything like that, and this is what it would look like on an iPhone. So hopefully this gave you a couple ideas and maybe thoughts that you didn't know, ideas and thoughts and skills that you didn't know you needed or were possible with Oxygen. I think this gives you a good overview of how you can use a repeater element in both ACF and Oxygen to create client editable interfaces. And this is just a good example. This is actually something that I've done for a lot of our clients, making really easy to use backend pages. And we've done payment forms and stuff like that with WS. Everything I use here is going to be linked in the description below. But hopefully this was a helpful video. If it was, let me know in the comment section below. If you want to see anything similar to this, give me ideas in the comment section below. And definitely like, subscribe, comment, do all that fun stuff. And until the next video, I won't see you in the next video. I will.